Hi, this is basically an orientation for Microbiology 2201, Microbiology for the healthcare professionals, hybrid. This is for lecture and lab, okay? Now, I'm just going to go over some basics. I will also meet with you on the first Monday, and we will go over any questions, concerns, but I do encourage you to get connected with the course and to also register for the Kinect section. And what I mean by getting connected is just basically going in and logging into e-learning, downloading the syllabus, read the syllabus, have your books, etc., materials ready. I don't want that to get confused with the Kinect, C-O-N-N-E-C-T, which is the online product by McGraw-Hill. I'll explain a little bit more of that later. But I want to welcome you to class. First off, you have some responsibilities. You want to have an email address registered with the e-learning site. And a lot of times what happens is I send out a message from the e-learning site and some people say, I never got that email. Oops. Make sure it works. Excuse me. You want to read the syllabus, sign the responsibility statement, and there are instructions in that in the collaboration. And actually, in collaboration, there's a section called forums. You want to follow that through. You'll need to have regular attendance in the course classroom, and there's some changes, and these will be to your benefit. So hang in there. And you want to have regular attendance in the EE course learning shell for both lab and lecture, a minimum of twice a week. That's all. Yep, you heard that right. Now, in email, you're going to expect weekly memos from me. Now, what if you need to contact me? Well, you can do several things. I am going to be available on Tuesdays and Thursdays, somewhat in the afternoon. Some students get very fussy about that because their schedule doesn't coincide, and that's okay. We can basically communicate by email. We can make an appointment, but if your schedule doesn't allow that, or we can set up a chat time, which is possible too. But I have to insist that all students, when you send an email, and I know that some people use their fast thumbs and go through their iPhone and send out a message quickly, legally I have to have you to sign your full name. Okay? And that's why I have to have you sign your full name. Because FERPA requires that I communicate back having some knowledge of who this is. And I legally cannot respond to an unsigned email. Or I will not respond to someone who is not the student. Okay? If you are sick and you're going to miss all your classes, then what you want to do is have someone contact the director, Karen Masters, and she will send out a broadcast message to all of your instructors that you are sick and what are some of the possibilities and options that you have there. In academic circles, it's always been recognized that attendance has a direct relationship to grades and student success. You want to basically maintain your attendance. There's going to be a lot of work in this course, and if you pace yourself, you're going to do awesome, and I want that happening. If you have some difficulties with time management, there are some resources we make available to our students to help them. That is particularly from the Center for Student Success. There's some people there who will help you, especially if you're those very busy adults that may be juggling family, a job, 2 jobs, and other courses. It gets to be a lot. Now, there's a new method for attendance. A lot of people used to have to log in, log out, and say, but I did log in, but I did log in. Here's the way we're going to do it now. There's going to be a site in the forums that just says attendance. All you have to do is make a statement, sign your full name. You have to do it a minimum of 2 times a week for both the lab section and the lecture section of e-learning, and that's it. If you sign in and you log a statement saying, I'm here, and you sign it, Jane Doe or, John Doe or whatever, then that's it. But I must warn you that if you have too many absences, the registrar's office will be notified. They usually monitor it by computer programming. You want to see the syllabus for further details there. It's the policy of La Brea College to administratively withdraw students for 3 consecutive absences. So basically, if you're gone and you're missing for 3 consecutive weeks. Now, you have to understand, we don't want to see anybody do poorly. But if you're out and you know you're going to be out for a legitimate reason, you're in a car accident, you have to leave the country because a relative has died, these are legitimate concerns. You want to contact the college and let us know. So please, rather than being administratively withdrawn, and by the way, in the process, they will attempt to contact you. Your academic advisor will try to call you, will try to email you. So don't just drop off the side of the planet. Please, we'd like to hear from you. If there's something legitimate, we want to see if we can work with you. Now, at the start of the course, all students must first go to the e-learning discussion site. That's in the collaboration site. That's part of the forums. And take this statement down. You can copy and paste it, but you've got to sign it. And what it really says is that you've read the syllabus, you agree and will follow all the requirements, deadlines, announcements, email memos, and conditions of the course. You've also read and accept the policy banning the use of iPads, smartphones, and smart devices during assignment submission. The problem with those is that it doesn't always work. And although it looks like it's working, then I get a student complaining saying I didn't see it. Now sign that posting and get it in for week 1, because that's going to be part of your attendance. Now, what are the books? This is different from the other microbiology text that the other professor is using. Please get the right book. For success in this course, you need to have the right tools. Right job, right tools, right tools, right job. So, there's a package that's offered through the bookstore. It is going to include basically Microbiology, Human Perspective by Nestor et al. Also, there will be a pass card that gives you access to the Kinect Microbiology online section by McGraw-Hill. Now, if you bought it through another site, you might not have the microbiology coloring book. This is totally optional. Lots of students ask me about this. Here's my thought of this. When I put this information together, I did not state that it was absolutely essential. If you get it and you find it's helpful, some people are big visual learners. They can understand things if they draw it, and there's a lot today invested in adult drawing books. I know it sounds silly, but if it helps you to understand some of the concepts, the structure of bacteria, the structure of viruses, etc., then by all means use it. But I do not put any assignments for the microbiology coloring book. Okay? What is Kinect? Kinect is similar to what you've seen with Mastering A&P if you took the A&P courses with us at La Brea. But Kinect is going to be easier to log into and easier to register. What it will contain is the lab exercises. Not all of them, but many of them. The lab exercises are actual virtual labs that you will do. You have to plan ahead for these things. They are going to take on average 2 hours or more. And you have to have a functioning computer. I don't think the lab exercises will work very well on iPads and smart tablets and iPhones, etc. It will also have weekly recorded lectures, which I will put. Now, these are going to be the lectures for the lecture part. We'll have some of the weekly assignments, critical thinking assignments, some of the lab assignments, case studies will not be there. They will be all in your e-learning site. And e-learning, when it comes to the coursework assignments, will tell you whether you have to go to Kinect or you have to do something else, okay? It'll also have some very nice review tools to help you. If you want to see what this is like, basically, you will go to this site to help you. And this is the e-learning site that you're going to have. This is for your lecture side. You will click on the registration and website, and then you will get here. And it says register for your class, and you will click on the register now. Everybody see that? Great. When you click on that, it's going to ask you for your email address. Now, I'm not going to go further with this, but basically, if you do this, it's going to show you your registration options. Okay? So tell them your email address. And do not use an email address that's not functional. You've got to have one that you can immediately then open up and follow through. They usually send some sort of little code just to confirm who you are. You'll also have to have your Kinect registration card handy. Once you make the submissions, then it's going to be very, very simple for you to register, okay? After that, From that point on, you see this site here says registration. You can use this to click and jump over to the McGraw-Hill Kinect and enter into the site for my course. Now, moving on. Your weekly work. For lectures, you will have instructions and an assignment explained in each of the weekly folders. If you remember over here, you have, and you look on the left, you have weekly folders. Unit 1, which means week 1. You'll have your unit summary, what are your objectives, what do you have to do, what do you have to read, etc. right down here. What are the required reading chapters? That's where it says assignment summary right here. You will also have lecture notes, and they will tell you what they what are they respectively related to. And then you will have your unit videos. Now, the videos are going to be absolutely essential. They look like a lot. I try to keep them under 10 minutes, but you absolutely need to see all of them. They're going to help you to comprehend the content. And by the way, Chapter 2, why don't I use Chapter 2? Because basically it's just a review of basic biochemistry, which you had in Anatomy and Physiology. Now, if you haven't had Anatomy and Physiology with us in a while, or you're a little rusty on what are lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, etc., then read it on your own. Okay? Going back to here. All the assignments are clearly explained. Now, what about labs? Labs are a separate e-learning site. The assignments are in the folders. Most, but not all, are virtual labs that are located in Kinect. You'll have to be able to find out what week you're in. If it's week 3, it'll tell you there are 2 labs. You'll have to do them, etc. One of the things that's different is, before you start doing the Kinect labs, is look at all of the YouTube videos that are located for that particular site. Okay? You see how I've got them down here? Well, for the lab site, they may be a few more. I want you to read and review the YouTube videos first and foremost before you do anything else, before you do the virtual lab. Okay? Anyways, let's just go back here for a second. Also, in every case, there will be a coursework section in the lab that will have several assignments. Some of the assignments are very basic, some writing assignments. There is a rubric there that tells you what's required. A rubric is just basically a grading format of how I will write it down and how I want it written, etc. This is not going to take a lot, but we will have to write these out in Microsoft Word and upload them. Oh, and by the way, if you have a Mac computer and you're using Microsoft Word, remember, don't send it by .doc or docx. If you have a Mac, send it by RTF, which means basically the real text format. Okay? Grading for this course. There are going to be 3 online lecture exams. They're 100 points each. Excuse me. There is one final lab comprehensive exam. So that means that it's going to cover the entire course. It's going to be your final exam. It's going to be on campus, which means during exam week you can expect. And I will send you the dates, the time, and the place beforehand. That's 200 points. Also, you'll have weekly online assignments. And then you will also have in your lab section 3 online exams. They're 50 points each, total of 150 points. You will have in the lab section weekly assignments too. As part of the mastering learning policy that we're doing now, you can take an exam over a second time, but you must contact the professor within 24 hours of the end of the first exam window. In other words, not come back to me 2 weeks later and say, can I take it now? No. You've got to decide just after the window closes, am I going to take this over? What is this going to be applicable for? Only those students that do below the passing grade. If you have an exam that is basically 100 points and you get only a 75, you can take it again. But if you have a 77 or a 78, that's passing, so we're not going to give you a second bite at the apple. Also, to make sure that you have something invested, your second try is going to be graded at 90% of the second grade. So let's say you get your